Journalism to footwear design, and now you want to dance in a bar? From the get-go, I expected mom-in-law to say something like, "What is this? Why do you want to learn
हमारे घर की बहू है."
Exactly.
We went to like a hand surgeon. He told me if you do unnatural things
like this will happen to you.
How could you put those videos up on Instagram as an Indian girl living in India?
So my approach is more artful and more sporty. I do both of that. So I've actually had men DM me from Haryana, and all these are like, some are wrestlers, some are like sports people, and they'll be like, "Ma'am, you're amazing. You know, you're so strong. कैसे कर लेते हो आप?" As a child, I was called Kali Kaluti by certain members of my family. I even used Fair and Lovely for 2 years. You know, first when I got the message on Instagram from the India's Got Talent team, I was like, is this a joke?
Welcome to the new series of the Ek Minute podcasts, Her Side of the Story. We're delighted to have with us today Nupur Chaudhary, who I've known for, I don't know, a few decades now, I think.
easily. I think we go back 20 years maybe.
When did we meet first?
You know, I remember meeting you, Monica, at the Sula Fest in Nashik. I was a young budding journalist covering the event, and I remember you being the most glamorous personality over there. Yeah, and I was like, wow, like I want to be like her.
Oh,
you know,
boy.
you were so confident in your skin and just so real that I liked you the moment I met you.
So, as we can see, Nupur used to be a journalist
Yes.
in those days,
Yes.
and that's how I first met her. Now she's a Pune-based pole dance artist and instructor. She transitioned from corporate and journalism, running a restaurant, designing footwear.
Yes. A lot of things actually. I remember when I first went for my pole class, I drove to Mumbai. And when I told my dad on the phone, he's like, journalism to footwear design, and now you want to dance in a bar? And I'm like, no, Dad, I'm just going to learn pole. So yeah, there have been a lot of things, but with pole, I feel I have found what I was looking for my entire life.
And that's why you're one of India's leading pole artists now.
Thank you.
So, talk to us about that journey. What made you decide to quit journalism, restauranting, footwear design, and move towards pole?
I was a journalist for 12 years, my last job being deputy editor with the Pune Times. I just felt like I had done everything there was to do, in Pune. And I knew I didn't want to move cities because I was getting married and I had been dating Ashwin for 5 years. And I knew that I wanted to be in the same space. I wanted both of us to have enough time together in our marriage. So, which is why I took the conscious decision to quit my job and start my own footwear label. So, be my own boss. I had studied footwear design in London. I'd done a short summer course. So I was like, why not? Because I loved shoes and all of that. And I was pretty good at designing, I think. That was a good run. And at the same time, we started our own resto bar called Mr. Rabbit's Bar in Barrow and Barnet. And I was hands-on with it. My husband is from the, restaurant line. His family's been in it for generations. But for me, it was new and yet not new because journalism had honed my people skills. I was always interacting with people, talking to them. And that's exactly what I did at the bar. I was like the front of it, managing the floor and looking after guests. And I loved it. And it was around this time where I realized, I have time to maybe do a pole class, because as a journalist, I didn't have the time to travel to a different city or country to learn pole.
But why pole?
So, when I was 16, I saw Demi Moore in Striptease, and that woman blew my mind. It always stayed in my head, but I'd never actually seen it live. It was in Australia. I was studying my master's in journalism and mass communication when I went to a strip club. So, and I went there because it's a funny story. So I was like telling this friend, I'm not getting a job in any restaurant or whatever. I think because I was overqualified as a journalist. So I was like, I'll just become a stripper. So he looked at me funnily and he's like, have you ever seen them? I was like, no, never. So he's like, I'll take you. So we actually went to a strip club, 8 of us. And we sat there and there was an Indian couple sitting in front of us. And this beautiful African-American dancer came out wearing these gorgeous high heels. Very little on top because, I assumed that's what it is going to be like. And I was okay. I was like, I'll just wear like a bikini and I can do this, dance around the pole. I'm sure I can. No one knows me in Australia. No one will know back in India. I'll do this, make good money. But once she started, and she was just gliding and floating, and she climbed up high, and she was upside down fighting gravity. And Indian uncle in front and I both were like, what is this? What is happening? I was just in awe. I still get goosebumps when I think of it because she was just so beautiful. And then when she came down, one thing came off and the other thing came off, and I was just like, okay. And my friend looked at me, he's like, can you do that? And I'm like, I don't have the guts to do that. But I was completely in love with her and the dance that she was doing. And that stayed in my head. It stayed all along. And unfortunately, in Australia, it didn't occur to me at the age of 21 that this is something I can learn. It didn't. But years later, I came across an article about pole dance classes. So that's when it stayed. And I found a teacher in Mumbai, but my job never allowed me to travel. So now that I had time on my hands, I, connected with the teacher and told my husband and mom-in-law, and they were very excited. My husband's like, you've been talking about this forever, chewing my brains. Just get into the car and go. And that's what I did.
They were excited about you learning something that you had seen in a strip club.
Yes, absolutely.
Expand on that.
So, I wouldn't be sitting here talking about pole if it weren't for my husband Ashwin and my mom-in-law Nanda Shetty, because from the get-go, I expected mom-in-law to say something like, what is this? Why do you want to learn?
Hamare ghar ki bahu hai.
Exactly. But I think I knew when I married him, and when you marry someone in India, you're marrying the entire family. And I knew when I was marrying him and her and my brother-in-law that they were just like me. The way I was brought up. She's never had this thing about what will people say. Never. She's an independent woman. She is a strong woman. And she has never stopped me from doing anything I want. And she respects me for the person I am. And I think that's where it came from, that, oh my God, you're trying something so new. We never had this when we were growing up. So she was very excited, and she was actually waiting home for me to come back from Bombay and show her, what did I do in class, So, and that has been there throughout. She's been a constant support. She even came with me on India's Got Talent and spoke about how she views pole dancing as a beautiful art form, no different from any other classical form of dance as well.
What about your parents?
That is a funny story. So my mom was very supportive. My mom was very excited, and she's like, oh, this is something new. So my mom actually came with me for my first class. She's like, I'll come with you. But when I was on the phone with my dad, I told you, he was like, now she wants to dance in a bar. And I had to explain to him, no, I'm just going to learn this. And I was like, Dad, it's a form of fitness. I'll send you some articles and all of that. So he was like, okay, do as you please. Ask Nanda. I was like, Nanda is very excited and on board with this. So he was like, okay, go for it. So, but for the longest time, Dad didn't look at my videos. He refused to see them because he didn't understand, because I would say it stems from ignorance about what pole can also be. Of course, when I started 7.5 years ago, the only thing pole was associated with is the stripping industry, the sex workers, and I'm very proud of this, of them. And I look up to them because without them, I would not have this amazing art form in my life. But that said, pole has also branched into a sport, a form of fitness. People do it just as a hobby. And so there's something for everybody.
To rewind a little bit,
Yes.
when you went for that first pole class, what was in your head? You were going to learn it because you
Yes.
just thought it was a mesmerizing form of art or whatever.
Yes.
Did you even think, what will the future be?
No. So when I signed up for the class, in my head, it was that woman I had seen at the club gliding on the pole and going upside down with so much ease. And I was just flabbergasted, how is her body doing this? And how is she sticking to that pole? How is she staying there? So when I signed up for my first class, that's what I had in my mind, that's what I want to do. I want to twirl around this pole and I want to see if my body can do it. I came from a non-fitness background, never worked out a day in my life. I was the girl in school who literally wrote her own notes to avoid running those rounds, as warm up. So I was never sporty. I was the nerdy one. I studied, did well, and then I was, journalist, writing, all of that. I never worked out. So for me, it was also a challenge. So I was curious. I wanted to see, like, can I do it? What will it be like?
Was it a one-on-one class?
No, she had 4 poles in her room at that time. So there were 4 girls.
And all of them wanted to do a career in pole, or
No career. It was just as a hobby. How say people at that time, or maybe if you do Zumba or aerobics or something like that, or any other dance form. So for us, it was just out of curiosity. But I'm telling you, Monica, the minute I learned my first pole spin, and it was on a static pole, the pole was not spinning. So we learned how to go around the pole. The minute I did that, I felt like I was flying, and I fell hook, line, and sinker in love. Like, I didn't know I will ever teach, but I knew that this is what I want to continue doing for the rest of my life.
So you finished that first pole class, you came back. Meanwhile, you have a restaurant and a footwear business.
Yes.
How did you finally graduate out of that and decide that pole will be your life?
I continued pole for, I think, going to Bombay every week. I would drive down for a 1 hour class and drive back for 3 months, 3.5 months. I picked up pretty fast. At the same time, since it was once a week, I could focus on, the footwear, and I would do, the restaurant. Of course, there would be late nights, but I would ensure that Saturday night I sleep a little early, wake up early and leave. But unfortunately, I suffered a wrist injury. So yeah, very early in my pole journey. So I feel I should have also been supplementing pole with gym training, strengthening my body, which I advise my students to do as well, because pole is a legit sport. You are an athlete if you pole. You are using every fiber in your body to stay up there. You are, of course, building muscle while poling, but it's not easy. I tell everyone to view it as a sport and train like an athlete. So that is a mistake I did. I didn't do that because I didn't know. I didn't know better. So actually I was in a position which was not corrected, which put immense strain on my wrist, my entire body weight there. So my ligament snapped and my bone dislocated. And I didn't even imagine that something like this could ever happen. So I drove back to Pune
with that pain.
And I not knowing what has happened. I reached home. I told Ashwin something has happened. I don't know what. By night, my hand had swollen up completely. Next morning, we went to like a hand surgeon, and he explained to me what had happened. I had to take a break, and what stayed with me, and it actually affected me negatively at that time. He told me, if you do unnatural things like pole dancing, because he's like, why are you doing pole dancing? So he's like, if you do unnatural things like this will happen to you. So, for me, I just started and found something I loved. And because people around me didn't know about pole, didn't know that it is a sport, I got that advice from the doctor. So physically, I had to take a break. Mentally, I was like, what the hell? Like, what has happened?
So how did you then mentally train yourself to get back to it? How long did this negative phase last?
Yeah, it took 1 year for me.
Really?
It took 1 year for me to mentally think like, okay, I can do this again. And at the same time, my work got affected with the footwear thing, because I was in a cast for 3 months, and I used to drive to Bombay to my workshop. So that stopped as well. And of course, I was there at the restaurant helping out and all of that. But I put on so much weight. I didn't do any other activity. I didn't go to the gym because I was like, oh, I'm injured. Like life has come to a standstill. And my husband had actually gifted me a pole which we had put up in our room so I could practice. I would look at it and just cry, just burst out crying because I was like, why has this happened to me? So he told me, he's like, I'm not going to take the pole down because you're going to look at it every day and tell yourself, I'm going to get strong enough to get back on the pole and continue doing what I love. So that really helped. And then I found a great physio who knew about pole. So he knew, and he's like, give me 6 weeks, I will get you back. And just him saying that switched things mentally for me. Took way more than 6 weeks, but I kept pushing, I kept strengthening. And then in October 2018, I was like, I'm ready. So, but this time I wanted to go to teachers who were more advanced, more, who'd been doing, more experienced, who'd been doing it for years, who would ensure I have a safer training. So that's when I went to Dubai.
Okay.
Yes. I went to Dubai, stayed there for a month, and it was just eat, sleep, pole, rest, repeat.
So then the whole transition from
Yes.
the restaurant and all that happened around that time.
Around that time.
What made you decide that I want to focus on pole now?
I actually continued with the restaurant bit. I phased out the footwear bit. But in Dubai, in that 1 month, I just, my levels, I leveled up very fast. So I leveled up very fast and I fell more in love with it because I was getting better and better, and when you get good at something, you love it even more. So I actually, when I came back from Dubai, I told Ashwin that I really want to focus more on pole as not just a hobby. I want it to be my life. Like I want it to be part of my life. And so he counseled me and he's like, so come with me to the gym. We'll do pole specific strengthening, for back, shoulders to keep it safe, your legs, basically everything. But he formulated a whole workout for me, which I followed. And I got stronger on the, on the pole. And I kept practicing and he would spot me. So, ensure I'm safe. Even difficult moves, he's always been there. So he's seeing me go from a baby poler to someone who can now human flag on the pole, So over the next 4-5 months, I even went for a pole retreat to Thailand where I trained with the world champion, Dineke Minton, and a fabulous pole instructor, Jenny Liebert. She literally shaped my pole journey, because she was so technique based. So technique focused, and that's what I drew from her, and that's what I, put into my own training and my own teaching. So by, I would say May 2019, I had started teaching, not out of like, oh, I want to teach, but a friend of mine, because I'd started putting it out on Instagram, she's like, this looks amazing and you have to teach me. And she bullied me into teaching her. And from there, word of mouth just spread, and it was her friend's friend, and everyone just started coming home to learn pole, and it just happened.
But to go back to that year that you did nothing.
Yeah.
And then finally, lucky for you, you had a very supportive husband who pushed you.
Yes.
You went back to pole. The first time you went to Dubai.
Yes.
How did you feel about getting onto that pole that first time after a whole year's break, after having had a life-suffering, really painful injury? Were you not nervous or scared?
I was terrified. I wore my wristbands and I spoke to the instructors over there. And I told them this had happened to me. And they said, don't worry, we'll ensure it's safe. So we took baby steps. But I was really scared, very nervous the first time I got back. But when I did it and I could climb up with ease, no pain, I knew that, okay, my body is ready.
Okay.
Yeah, because it was really hard. It was my right hand. I couldn't do anything. I needed Ashwin's help with everything, from changing my clothes to, everything. I needed his help. So I knew I didn't want to get back into that space because that really pulled me down mentally. So, but yeah, once there was no pain, I was okay.
How did COVID affect you?
So the first thing I did when they announced the lockdown is I ran to the studio, brought my home pole back, put it up in my room because I was like, I won't survive anything if I don't get to pole, It's literally my meditation and my therapy combined in one.
I mean, we've all seen your Instagram videos of you doing pole. How could you put those videos up on Instagram as an Indian girl living in India, considering what you have to wear when you do pole? I'd like to understand a little bit of how you thought about that situation and how you got the courage to put up those videos.
Yeah, so for the longest time, after I was learning pole, I didn't have the guts to put it out on Instagram. No one else knew that, oh, this, she's learning pole. I kept it to myself and just a few close friends. Like you said, because of the clothes we have to wear. So just to clarify here, we have to wear, pole wear, which is literally like a sports bra and tiny shorts. The lengths can vary, but we wear that because we need our skin to grip the steel pole.
It's a bit like Malkham.
It's exactly like Malkham. So, they wear those little orange langos. So it's exactly the same.
So is pole derived from Malkham?
There's always this constant debate in the international pole community as well, whether pole has its roots there. So I don't want to take away from, the stripper community because they have made pole what it is. But I would say there is a lot of similarity. And Malkham is an ancient sport, coming from India. And so is Chinese pole. So I have tried Malkham for a bit. And I actually found it a bit easier than, say, someone who's never done pole would find it. Because the moves are so similar. The grip points are similar. The difference is that's a wooden pole and it is thicker. Ours are steel poles and more slippery. So my grip strength is really good because of that. So I enjoyed Malakam, and that's when I sort of thought that, hey, this move is so similar, and Malakam is older. So there has been inspiration for sure. There has been for moves and stuff. So
But were there women doing Malkam?
no. So if you see in India, women were always doing rope Malakam, and it was the men who were doing pole Malakam, you know. But with pole, it was more women centric, and then men came into pole, is what I feel.
So the dress then for doing pole,
Yeah.
women Malkam, rope Malkam, did they need to wear like
I think in rope Malakam, you can wear tights, you know. But for the pole Malakam, there's no way you can wear clothes and do it. Similarly, like, you know, the pole that I do, I can't wear jeans and or tights and do pole. I will slip, fall, break my shoulder, my head, something.
So talk to us about that. Like, how did you get the courage then finally?
Yeah. So I kept getting better at pole, and when I was in Dubai and, you know, I leveled up, I would send Ashwin videos from there. And he was like, you know, babe, you need to put this out on Instagram because you're actually good at it. And I was like, no, what are people going to say? I will have to explain. And what if I get negative comments? Because let's face it, if however strong we are, if someone says something negative, it plays on your mind, you know, for a bit at least. So he was like, listen, you put it out there. If anyone says even one negative thing, I will be the one to respond to them. So you don't worry about that. And I was just like, what have I done to get you in my life? Yeah. And that's when I started posting. And, you know, Monica, I must have in all these years possibly got maybe just 1 or 2 negative comments openly on Instagram. So I think it also has to maybe do with the style of pole I do. So my approach is more artful and more sporty. I do both of that. So I've actually had men DM me, you know, from Haryana, and all these are like, some are wrestlers, some are like sports people, and they'll be like, ma'am, you're amazing. You know, you're so strong. Kaise kar lete ho aap? You know? And I love that. And then I talk to them about pole and I thank them for their appreciation. So not once have I got, which a lot of international polers sometimes get, oh, can you dance on my pole? It's a very common comment. It's a very common comment, but our Indian men have never put me through that.
That's
So I love them for that.
Yeah.
You know, they respect the art form and they view it for exactly what I want them to view it as. And I love that. And I'm very grateful.
And your dad has started watching your Instagram videos?
Oh, yes. My dad watches my videos. You know, so I competed in 2020 and I won silvers. And
Is that what this medal is about?
yes, that's my silver medal.
Where did you compete?
So it was during lockdown and I'd already decided 2020 I want to go and compete. Lockdown happened. We could not travel. But luckily, the pole sport organization took the competitions online. So I competed online and it was 3 or 4 a.m. our time because it was US based. So
Okay.
there were polers from all over the world competing in my category as well. And I remember they announced me as winning silver in my category and I was jumping all over the house. Thank you, thank you. And I think I was the first one from the Indian pole community to compete and win at that point. And I was jumping all over the house and my husband and I, we were yelling and my parents were watching. They were up and watching it at their place. And when my dad saw that, everything
Oh
changed.
gosh, I've got tears in my
Yeah,
eyes. That's so
everything.
incredible.
Thank you. Everything.
Considering that he thought you're
Yes,
stripping, you know. and-
Exactly. He thought I was going to dance in a bar. And from there to actually win silver in a sport, like his respect went up and he actually opened his mind up and he understood what pole is really about. And now he shares my videos with his friends and he shows them like, that is my daughter. So he's very
That's
proud of me now.
Incredible. And it's nice you've got a supportive
Yeah.
husband, a supportive father. I hate
Yes.
to say that as a woman,
Yeah.
that, you know, the men's support helps, but it
Yes,
does,
it
right?
does.
Especially in a sport like this.
It absolutely does because there was and there still is a bit of stigma associated with it. So I'm just very grateful. I've done something right to have this support system around.
Let's talk about how has pole changed you as a person.
Okay.
You know, your self-belief, your love.
Yes.
You put on a lot of weight and looking at you would, you know, and your fabulous body. So apart from physical transformation, how else has pole transformed you?
Yeah. You know, so like I said, pole is literally my meditation and my therapy. What we put out on Instagram, everyone's like, oh, what a happy life, you're polling, everything. But all of us have some sort of stress in our lives. But pole, when I pole, I am one with that apparatus. Nothing else matters and the world melts away. And pole has constantly given this to me since day one. when I say I love pole, Monica, I'm literally saying I love myself because, like I said, I'm one with that apparatus. We're working together to create, those moves and combos to stay strong. And so I'm literally falling in love with myself each time I pole. Earlier as a younger person, I always had a slim frame, but I didn't have the confidence to wear a bikini on the beach because one, as a child, I was called Kali Kaluti by certain members of my family. And I even used Fair and Lovely for 2 years on my skin. Yes, because we were so conditioned that fair skin is how, the way to go. I didn't wear a bikini on the beach because I had, how as brown women, we are not one-toned all over our body. There is some form of discoloration. There were stretch marks on my upper thigh. And I was like, no, this is not how it should look, But once I started pole and wearing the clothes we have to wear, and my body is doing these incredible things, how I look just does not matter. For me, it is what I can do with this amazing body. And I have muscles now. And I have been fit shamed as well. That is a thing. I have had people say, but you have muscles, you may look like a man and stuff like that. And now it just doesn't bother me because I'm like, I work so hard to look, to have those muscles and be strong and look like a pole dancer. You know what I mean by pole dancer? I don't mean the sexy aspect of it. I mean the strong aspect of it. As women, we are very strong emotionally, mentally, and now I'm physically strong as well. Pole has just given me body confidence. It has given me self-love. It has given me this love of being a woman, embrace every flaw in me till that doesn't remain a flaw anymore, So stretch marks, cellulite, I have it all and I love it, and I make my students see the same thing. We fall constantly, but we use crash mats because I believe in safe training. I have had maybe a minor shoulder injury, hamstring injury, but they go.
Okay.
I treated, I have a chiropractor and physiotherapist, Dr. Pritesha, who is my go-to.
I love him.
Oh my God, I'm so happy he's in. See, my support system is just around me.
Yeah.
And I know that he understands my sport. He tries his best and he can fix me. So I know like anything goes wrong, he fixes me.
So how do you transfer this feeling to your students? That don't be scared. And if it's an injury, you'll bounce back. If your students have ever been injured, how do you support them through it? And also the whole thing about this self-love and this need to be fit. And it's not just about, fluff.
Yeah, exactly. I have had women who have come to me at 45, 50, who started pole, who've not worked out before, never won shots in their life. There was this one student, I'm going to talk about this because I felt free. I felt her freedom at that point. She had never won shots in her life. She came for pole and she was like, can I please do pole in my tights because I've never won shots in my life. I'm not comfortable. So I said, okay, I'll give you moves that we can do. You don't have to get onto the pole. So I gave her spins that she didn't need to grip the pole and all of that. Then she saw my other students climbing the pole and doing stuff. And she saw that each one is in their own zone. When you're on the pole, you're not worried about, oh, what is she wearing? What does she look like? No, you're thinking about yourself and doing the move. And then she came to me and she's like, I actually bought shorts. Can I wear it? I was like, yes, please. And she went to the loo, she changed into shorts and she came out and she had this grin on her face. And she was like, this is the first time in my life I'd worn shorts. And she was 40 something. And then she got onto the pole. And after that, she gave me a big hug. And she's like, thank you enough because I feel so free. So, and, that has sort of permeated all of our classes, that and falling in love with your body. I've had girls who have been bullied for being too skinny. And now with pole and their muscles, they're like, I finally love my body. I love how it looks. I love how it feels. I've had girls who've undergone depression. They've had suicidal thoughts. And they've come for pole and said, like, this makes me feel like I've found something happy, And my classes are not just about, oh, this is the move, you do this move and leave. No, we talk about life. We talk about how we look at ourselves, how even we look at our training. I tell them, never compare yourselves with someone else, because no two bodies are ever alike. Someone's strength is maybe your weakness, and vice versa. You know, focus on yourself, focus on not perfecting something, but progressing, focus on learning. There are times when something may not work at all. I have those training days where everything is a fail, 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 some falls. But that is also teaching us something. That is teaching us that victory will be even sweeter. So, you know, these are things I constantly talk about in class. One of my students jokes with me. She's like, you should term your class as pole plus therapy. So, no, because I like talking about these things, because these are things I've learned in my journey and I want to give back to people, you know. There should be no place for, pole should never give you anxiety. You know, pole should take that anxiety away. It should be your safe space. It should be your, this is my moment space, you know. It should be your safe learning space. And these are things that I talk to them about. And we talk about body positivity. If someone's like, oh, but I'm looking really fat. And I'm like, I really can't see that, because what I can see is just how amazingly you just did that trick and that combo, you know. And so I think this shapes each one of us, and they look at me as their mentor, they look at me as their coach, and they take these things seriously. So I love that. My husband is a polar himself.
Oh, is he one of your students?
Yes. I told him, like, this is something I love and I want you to experience it. And since he's so open-minded, as we have established, he's like, let's go, let me try. So he tried all the spins. He did even, you know, like a sexy body wave and all of that. He loved it. There was this time when in 22, I wanted to go train with my pole god. I literally worship him, Dmitry Politov. And I wanted to train with him. And he had this camp in Turkey. And I told Ashwin, we have to go for it. And why don't you also do it? So he's like, I've never done pole. So Ashwin's like, okay, but you give me a lot more classes before. Prep me. So he came, I prepped him. I taught him the basics. I taught him some advanced moves as well. Because as men and as a gymmer, he had the upper body strength and he had the muscles to take it a notch higher. So we did that, and he did the 10-day pole camp with me and Dimitri, with all advanced polers over there. And he turned out to be Dimitri's favorite. Dimitri just loved him. And he's like, I love this guy, because one, the faces Ashwin would make with the pole burns when you grip the pole. He's just like stuck on the pole and he's like, oh my God. But he would keep going for it and have that open mind. So it was amazing to have my partner with me, spotting me and me spotting him, and training together with my mentor, with my guru.
Who needs couples therapy when you have pole?
Seriously, no. So,
but what was this pole burn thing you talked about?
Oh yeah, so friction burns. Now, when you get on the pole, we use our skin to grip the pole. So what keeps us up there is the friction between your skin and the stainless steel pole. So it sounds nasty, but it's not most of the time. We call them pole kisses. So, and you have to earn them. Okay. So I'm very jealous of my newbie students who get them like all over their arms, all over their legs. Our legs will be covered in red bruises. I don't get them as often now. So when I get them, I'm just like, oh my God, look, I got a pole burn here. So, you know, we actually look forward to it, and we love it. It reflects the hard work you've put in.
Talk to us about India's Got Talent.
Yeah.
How did you get on that show?
Yeah.
And how did you feel when they contacted you, and how did you feel after you did what you did?
You know, first when I got the message on Instagram that from the India's Got Talent team, I was like, is this a joke? Is someone playing a prank on me? But then I did my due diligence. I checked, and it was like, I verified it was legit. And I was just like over the moon. I was like, oh my God. You know, Monica, I believe in manifestation, because when I was younger, I always told people, I will do one song on TV. Like, I would say item song, okay? That one song I will do. And they called me to do pole dancing on national television. Of course, it was not an item song, but I couldn't believe that I was being invited to do something on TV. So, but I gave it my best. I had to send them videos initially. So I did that. They loved it. They called me to Bombay, and I had to do a routine in front of tons of people there, like the producers of the channel and everything. And they were like, you know, we want you for the studio round, the TV round of the show.
So it wasn't a competition.
It is a competition. It is a talent competition, but I knew that I was going to be there for this round, you know, the studio round. So I had to go a week before, stay with them. They put up all the participants at one place, and each of us would practice, with their choreographers. So my entire choreography changed because what I had said was like, oh no. So 1 week before, everything changed. The song also had certain changes in it. Obviously, their choreographers don't know what pole is, but they know how to catch beats, and they know, what would look nice on TV. So we worked together. They were very nice. But it was very tiring for me because, it's constantly like, okay, from here, what can we do now? Oh no, something else, and then putting it together. So I was literally practicing 4 to 5 hours a day. My body was in pain. I was popping Myospaz and Combiflam just to sort of get to the.
Wow.
I remember 2 days before my body was in so much pain. I called my dad and I was crying. And I was like, I don't think I can do this. And he's like, if you can't, come home. No pressure. But you see, if you can, there's absolutely no pressure. And then I was like, okay, I'll try. Hua to hua. If it happens, great. But on the day, of course, I was really excited. Mom-in-law was there. Ashwin was there.
Adrenaline was there.
And nerves. My palms were sweating. And I went there and I told them, don't switch off the AC. They were like, no, we need it for the mist. And I was like, don't switch off the AC. But they turned it off. And I looked at them in the wings and I was like, my palms are dripping because you can't sweat when you're on the pole. But the minute the AC came on again and I touched the pole, everything faded. There were no judges. There was nothing else. It was just the pole and me. My body pain dissipated and I just did my thing. And at the end, when I did my drop, and they all gave me a standing ovation, and Badsha couldn't speak for a few moments, and Kiran Kher stood up and she spoke so much to me and appreciated it. And Shilpa Shetty and the other judge who was there, and they said such amazing things. And one of the judges said that aap Pune se ho, so you're from Pune, and today you did a punya for pole, that you have brought respect to the art form here because everyone watching it is going to love it because you treated it like an art. And he's like, that's the only thing we could see when you were up there. And that's when I cried on stage.
I was going to say, did you cry?
Of course, I cried on stage because this is what I wanted for pole. This is what I want for pole. I want respect. I want it to be mainstream. I want people to find their own thing. You want the exotic dance part of it, amazing, do it. It's not easy to wear those 8-inch, 9-inch heels and do those moves and make it look amazing. It's not easy. Or you want to do the sporty stuff like kind I do, or you want the artful stuff, spin pole that I love as well. You find your niche and you do it, but find pole. Like I want everyone to experience it because just of the happiness it brought to my life and how it's changed my life. So.
Yeah, wow, it's incredible. So tell me, you have started Pole School India.
Yes.
When did you start it and what prompted you to do that? And it's now gone on to Pole Retreats. So
yes,
tell us how that came about.
Okay, so I actually started teaching at home and then I started, I converted our other flat into, I put up 4 poles over there and actually called it 4 poles at that time. This was December 2019. Just because it was getting too much for me to teach individually at home. So here I put a bunch of students together and I started teaching group classes. I don't have a fixed curriculum because like I said, it's not a one size fits all. I teach as per each one's body, as each one's strength. Someone's worked out, not worked out in their life. So my approach with each one is different, but I want to teach them with the right technique. So, I spoke about technique based. So my training and teaching, coaching is very technique based. So the Pole School India, basically 4 poles transitioned into the Pole School India last year. I changed the name, I did up the place a little bit more. And I held my first pole retreat in Goa in Feb 2024. So I knew that I wanted to take this out of Pune as well. I was traveling to Bangalore, Chennai, teaching workshops. I've been invited by studios there in Mumbai as well. But I also wanted to bring everyone together, and not restrict them only to Pune. So I thought, why not Goa? Because I have attended pole retreats abroad and I know the feeling, I know the vibe, I know how, you may never know the other person, but you leave as friends. And these friendships, they are a different bond altogether. So that's exactly what I wanted. And that's exactly what I achieved with my first pole retreat. I even had someone from Dubai come in. So there was Bangalore, Chennai, Delhi, Bombay, Pune, and Dubai. And there were 16 of us. And Ashwin helped me in my lessons, more assisting, more spotting so that there's safe training. And yeah, it was a fabulous 4 days. We did pole, we did ice bath, breathing, we did surfing.
Wow.
And I think everyone made lifelong friendships.
So you created a pole community.
Exactly.
It's a bit what we do with Ek Women. We're creating a community of women.
Exactly. And each one inspires the other.
Absolutely.
And this
And
year-
sharing inspiring stories like yours.
Yes. So this year I actually took the retreat internationally.
Oh, you did?
Yes.
Where did you go?
In May, we went to Sri Lanka. And we were 22 of us.
Ooh.
I thought it would be 12, 14 when then everyone kept signing up. So it was 22 of us. Had the best time ever. And I even invited an exotic pole teacher to teach over there.
What's the difference between like
So exotic is where, you wear the high heels. And it's more floor-based as well.
you're Australia woman?
Yes. It's sensual and sexy and still very strong. So she taught them exotic and I taught them the spin and static pole. So it was just beautiful. And we had mobility classes. We did surfing again. We had ice bath again. And we had this crazy party that I think the BTS has to stay in Sri Lanka, cannot come here. But it was amazing. So I just want to grow with this. And yeah.
Talking about growing, how did you feel when that first student walked in and the first time you taught?
I didn't know if I would be a good teacher because teaching was not on my agenda, but it was a friend of mine who came. And when she came, I did my warm up with her. And as I was nervous because, will I be able to impart the right knowledge, all of that? And I don't want to give half-baked stuff. But as I taught my first spin to her and she started getting it slowly, she understood my cues and I understood how to modify the cues to suit her body, to make her understand. And by the end of the class, she had actually done 2 or 3 spins more than what I had done in my first class. And I was like, hey, okay, I'm not bad at this. So I was very excited at the end of it. I was nervous before, but very excited at the end.
And then you just grow in confidence.
Yeah. And I still get very excited every time my students get moves and combos. I think I am and I will be the biggest cheerleader.
I want to talk about something non-pole.
Okay.
I mean, you're doing pole, which is, something that is completely different from what many other Indian women do. But you've also decided not to have a family.
Yes.
So how has your mother-in-law, husband, father, mother taken that decision of yours?
I knew while I was in my 20s, while I was dating Ashwin, that I do not want children. I wanted to get married to him for sure and grow old with him, but children were not part of my agenda. And luckily for me, Ashwin was on the same page as well, which I think has helped our bond grow stronger because there's no clash over there. There are several.
Yeah, I was like, log kya
Yeah. So at that time, I would always tell people, I'm not going to have kids. I'm going to just have dogs. I love animals. I'm a vegetarian by choice. And of course, I do have dogs. We have 2 babies, but both boys, very naughty, but very beautiful. And not having kids, one is because the main reason I would say is I think there's too much happening in this world, too much of negativity. I feel there's too many not nice things that I didn't want to bring a soul into this world. I didn't want to be the person doing that. I don't know where the world is going to go. I didn't want that headache. Oh my God, what am I leaving for my child? It worries me. Even when I see other people having babies, like, oh my God. And times are changing too fast. And I think also having a child is super duper expensive. You may call it selfish, but I'd rather earn my money and go travel the world, live my life. And I'm very happy. I don't feel there's anything missing in my life. There are absolutely no regrets. I've had people tell me, oh, but at some point you are going to regret that decision. You are going to want kids. It's never happened. I'm 39 now. It's never happened. If only I am just happier that I made that decision.
It's so interesting you say that because I remember when I was in my 20s and, we discussed should we have children or not. And we were very happy not to have children and travel the world and do all that you're saying. Nothing about the world was bad and let's not, because at that time it was not so bad.
Yeah.
But we did think that maybe when we are older, we might regret not having had kids. So it was kind of an unconscious decision to just go ahead and have kids. And then when you have one, you have another one because you want a companion.
Exactly.
And so it just happened. And I love my kids and I know I was a good mother and all that. But I have 100% told them, I don't care if I don't have grandchildren. I'm not one of these, oh, baby, and, let me change diapers.
Nor am I.
So
Nor am I.
I can understand.
Yeah, I don't have that what is it? Is it an instinct or is it
The
an
maternal,
affinity?
yeah,
I
whatever.
have it for dogs. I don't have it for kids. A lot of people tell me, oh, but you know, the way you look after your dogs and you love them, you would be a great mom. I'm like, I am already to that. I don't feel a need to have a human child. And my mom-in-law has never forced us.
I was going to ask, what about
Yeah.
parents and mom-in-law? They didn't want grandchildren or the line to continue?
Yeah, so they did, of course, they did. But Ashwin and I sat down and had this conversation with her saying, you know, we don't want children. And she was like, okay, so like, I'm not someone who will force you because at the end, you have to look after the kids. You know, I'm not going to be that person to say, oh, you have kids, I'll look after them. No, you know, so she stood by us and our decision. My parents, till I think a year ago, my dad still had hopes that no, she will, you know, take our lineage forward. He's like, the Chaudhary family will end now. So he's like, no, you know, we've got good genes, take it forward. But I think now he has accepted the fact that we don't want kids. And, you know, and also one more thing, I think like how you would be there for your kids and how my parents are still there. Like anything happens, call mom, call dad, you know, they're there for me today when I'm 39 and they are in their 60s. And I don't think I can do that for someone else, you know, be there for that person, how my parents are there for me. I don't know.
Well, that I have to tell you happens automatically. So, you know, you're there for
Yeah.
your dogs like that. You
Yeah.
will be there for your kids.
Yeah.
That's not something, but fair enough, you know, your decision, which worked
Yeah.
for you and you're happy with that
I'm very
decision.
happy. Yes.
But you said something about being vegetarian,
Yes.
which I think it's interesting for me to find out what do pole artists, people who work out on pole need to do as a diet? Because, you know, you need muscle building, you need strength training. And as a vegetarian, do you get that protein to repair your damaged muscles? Like, what kind of diet do pole people have to eat?
So I don't eat food to lose weight or anything, but like you said, I eat to supplement my training. But I eat ghar ka khana, a lot of dals, rajma, chola, broccoli, a lot of paneer. So I'm not vegan, I'm vegetarian. I eat a lot of paneer. And I also supplement with vegan protein. So I have to. And I eat eggs once in a while because when I had quit eggs, actually, my B12 had dropped a bit and, you know, all of that. So, and that leads to injuries in the long run.
I'd like to end with a rapid fire round.
Okay.
Okay?
Yeah.
Are you ready?
Yes.
One word to describe pole dancing.
Love.
Your go-to pole song.
I think unstoppable.
A move you're most proud of.
The INX. It's like the human flag, but our legs are open in a straddle instead of closed.
Do you have that up there?
No, but the second one is actually a precursor to that.
Okay.
So you're just on your two hands, but now the body comes to the side.
It's like a flag.
It is a flag.
One myth you wish people would stop believing.
That pole is gender specific. Yeah.
Interesting. And your favorite pole artist? I think you said this.
Dimitri Polito.
Is there any woman pole artist who's your favorite?
Yes, Jenny Liebert, my OG teacher. I love her. I love her style. I love how sassy she is. And I love how she combines the sensualness with the sporty side. I love her.
And after pole, what?
I don't think there's going to be an after pole. I think it's just pole. So I want to be polling till I'm 80. That's the goal. So
there's no age limit to pole.
There's no age limit. In fact, there are some polers who have started at the age of 73. There is a poler, I think, who is 76 or 75, and she does the full human flag.
Wow. I've had a double hip replacement. I wonder if I can do pole.
Maybe we'll keep Dr. Pritesh on standby and in class, and then you get it.
Nupur, one final question. If you could speak to the younger Nupur, the one who just discovered pole, the one just recovering from injury and doubting herself, what would you tell her? And what message would you give to anyone chasing a dream the world doesn't yet understand?
Okay. To younger Nupur, I would say everything falls into place at the right time. You know, initially I would always think like, why didn't I find poles sooner? But no, maybe I was not ready. Maybe I had not met the right support system that I have now to do something like so. Everything fell into place at the right time. Everything happens for a reason. My injury happened to teach me something. I've learned from that injury what not to do, how to apply correct techniques, even when I'm teaching. So everything that happens in our life is a lesson, and we have to learn from it. If we don't learn from it, the lesson will keep coming. So learn from it is what I would tell, my younger self. And I would say, don't fret, everything works out.
And what about anyone chasing a dream the world doesn't yet understand? Like,
Yeah.
how do you make them buy that dream?
I would say, don't be afraid of what people are going to think or say, because at the end of it, they are not living your life. They have not gone through what you are going through, and they don't pay your bills. They don't have your thoughts. They don't have your strength. You have your strength. Stick to that strength and believe in yourself. I think that your belief in yourself will make others believe in you. It's like, I'll give you an example. When we wear something that we're not comfortable with, we're constantly adjusting. So someone can see, oh, she's not comfortable. But when you are comfortable in what you're wearing and you walk into a room like you're comfortable, like what you do, Monica, no, it's true. You inspired me. So, when you believe in yourself and you are confident, that energy flows to the world, and that will eventually get them in line.
That's so beautifully put. Nupur, thank you so much for sharing your side of the story on her side of the story. And we look forward to having more discussions with you in the future.
I would love to. Have absolutely enjoyed talking to you about pole. And thank you for giving me this platform and pole this platform. And
absolutely. Thank you.